Arc 1964 here, another race course, back to Ascot. Went to Ascot last year, so I said a couple of earlier videos. I was going to go to Victoria Cup, maybe on handicap, and also Buckhound Lister Stakes for this meeting 2 years ago. But COVID hit, not me personally, but it meant the meeting was held behind closed doors, so I had to get a refund on my train ticket and a ticket from Ascot. So Victoria Cup used to be held at Hurst Park until a racecourse closed in I think 62 or 63. A couple of bases, main two races went elsewhere. Victoria Cup pretty much I think straight off went to Ascot. Hurst Park was actually dual national and flat course, so the 12 hurdle, the other one race was actually not held for a couple of years. And some talk of actually going to Kempton. I'm not sure exactly the details totally. I have to check what I did that for. What's the Kempton video? I know some history video I did a while ago. Might as well link that up here because I did it. You can watch it if you want. And it wasn't held for a few years. Then it went to the April meeting in Cheltenham Festival. Some people think it actually went directly to the Cheltenham Festival. That didn't. It was actually Cheltenham's April meeting went to. Then I think in 67, I think 68, or maybe 67. I think 68. It then became the way it is now, which is basically the start of the Gold Cup Day with Cheltenham Festival. Bit tired. Anyone knows me, I'm quite not as much as I used to be. Very active in local politics in Newcastle. Used to be a councillor between 2004 and 2010. So Thursday local elections here. So well, still a bit tired from that. Even much students later. Also went out with political friends yesterday. Always do. If you do how we do local elections, always go out for a drink the day afterwards. Had quite a few drinks. Very nice actually. Indian all-you-can-eat buffet, which I'm not. Done with too much. I hadn't ever done all-you-can buffets. There's one in Chinese a number of years ago. I don't know, 20 years ago maybe. It was a nice enough place. But anyway, let's try and stay awake during the day. I almost certainly won't have time for a drink, not before racing certainly, and I'm a bit push afterwards. Get a pint at maybe partial to King's Cross. That's a possibility. I would need to get some food, and done that long, so probably not. I certainly don't want. I don't think I want one for racing anyway. Quite a lot last night, and I'm not sure I want another one now anyway. At Ascot now, slow to get in I have to say. I actually got slightly wrong on the earlier part of the video, so I didn't have time for a pint. I actually did, but I remembered I actually made a decision I probably would in an hour 10 probably walk from King's Cross to Waterloo, just because it's not short, it's about 2.5 miles. It's easy enough to work out. I just go south at basically end of Waterloo Bridge, so that's not difficult. But then I thought probably going to get into, I put the train down, and I'm thinking, I'm not sure I'm involved with it. I'm staying, I think, a bit tired and probably wouldn't have felt like it. And then the train actually got quarter of an hour late, 10 minutes, quarter of an hour late into King's Cross anyway. I still would have had enough time to do it, but it would have been a bit of a push. And I suspect I'd go off the train anyway, I wouldn't have felt like it. So I decided to get the earlier train from Waterloo to Ascot. Only just got it because I should have easily done maybe that train, but then because we were 5 minutes late, into King's Cross, I was a bit of a push, and I struggled. I was just going to the ticket to the ticket machine. Ticket machine, the barriers at Waterloo. The ticket wasn't working, and look, I just had to come back urgently to a train a person there say, oh, my ticket's not working for someone, I don't know why. I sounded a bit annoyed, but I was, bluntly, because I tried on 3 barriers and none of it worked. I'm telling you, about leaving about 2 minutes. I got there, busy on my train, standing room only. I might get a seat because I was at Waterloo, but quite standing. I decided, how long to get in here? And I'm slightly relieved with the earlier train. I think I still would have made the first race if I got the later train, but body scanning everybody. And both got 2 entrances working here separate on parts of separate entrances to a racecourse. So both, I assume one was actually for Queen Anne enclosure, which I have, rather than the King Edward enclosure. But actually, I think for both. But the problem is, I'm saying we're body scanning everybody, and and the problem, they probably need more turnstiles if you're doing that, because it's just slowing everything down. And I assume I'd have made the first race, so it's not. It's just actually rather slow. There's not much staff around, but there's not hovering around the queue. They're not there. And the problem is, I wasn't 100% sure it was the right entrance. So I had to pop on quickly just to check with somebody, pop out the queue, just check. Is this the right entrance? And it was entered of both. I should be fair, 757 race card, first race 1:45. So it's a right day. I felt a bit warm in the train at the start because I had to basically run up to London for train, in effect. get that one, but it should be okay. Got to say back Waterloo to Ascot Waterloo should be fine afterwards. Got about half an hour. I mean, so above the train, that's not going to be an issue at all. It's only about a 10-minute walk to the exit, mainly downhill, thankfully as well. We walk uphill at Ascot of a station, and the entrance to the racecourse is to the end, very sharp uphill, and 2 other ways at a minute. And uphill doesn't help me at all, and took some effort that, I have to say. But I like the racecourse, it's a nice place. I've got the cheaper ticket today. I did say about last year. So you end up walking, what I assume is the more posh, and wearing jacket deb, not a tie. I don't like wearing ties, that's the dress code saying I have to. I would have done if that was a ticket, but it's more than I wanted to pay. Paid I think 27 of this one. I got quite a lot more for the King Edward enclosure would have been. But I think in my last Ascot video I said that there's no obvious dividing line in front of the winning post in 2 enclosures, and I'm assuming we'll be in line, bit of line winning post with the King Edward enclosure, and not one I had, which has been Queen Anne for the meeting last year. But I'm not sure of that, and there's no sign saying it. And so as I was saying in that video about the 3rd race, I saw people basically clearly shouldn't be in that enclosure if they were in a jacket and tie there, and I thought, well, I'll join them because no one's there saying it, so you can't be there. Some this year was today as well, and if I'll just have a look and see if it's happening again. If that's the case, they'll do exactly the same thing, because no one, unless there's someone there to say you can't do it. And frankly, it's not obvious it's even where the closure split is. I know a bit above it is up the steps, so that is a King Edward enclosure, so assuming a bit below is, but why? You really should have a sign make it obvious where a split enclosures is, and it's not 100% obvious. Found myself rather badly needing a drink, not of the alcoholic kind. I just had an energy drink from right at the start of the day, just before on the train. I prefer coffee on the whole, although again on the train I prefer on the whole probably hot coffee, just a bit more expensive though, willing to pay, and there was anything was only £1, and only drinking them on for train journeys. Not have a healthy thing to drink, but only have them for racecourse journey, so it's not really that. But that's not the issue when I'm overweight. But looking at Ascot, I think a bottle of something. I was seeing with the kiosk quite near the entrance. I thought, well, it's going to be expensive, but I wonder how much it would keep people off by. And even I did think it would be £2.90 for a bottle of Diet Coke, £3 for a bottle of Coke. I'm just not willing to pay that. I think it's just a ridiculous price. I was thinking, the probably sounds a bit less than more trade, because not many people are probably buying the bottles there. I'm guessing people have probably paid a lot of money for a concession in Ascot, but if you're not doing any trade, what's the point? I mean, my charge say £2.30, £2.40 even, and at £2.20 I'll probably have paid it. So you do more, so to actually make a bit more money, well, it's up to them. Going to organise that like that. But I'm still wander through the racecourse, middle of the just a big place. I'm thinking, is there a water fountain here? And I couldn't see one on the left-hand side. I thought, oh well, I didn't think it would be, but I thought it might be nice. So my way back, who is? Looking like it's quite near, it's hidden away from where I was, but great. And I see a couple of small sort of plastic cones of water. And I'm out a couple later on. That's all I need really, and it's a very useful thing to have for the race because not enough of them do. And it's not just if people aren't like, I don't fancy a drink. I never did a race course. I hardly ever have done that. I don't like I like really fan of real ale. Craft beer on the whole is okay as well, but it tends to be too expensive, and also might need to retort to the race course, and usually it's just because this will be crowded. What I heard recently times, I've not been a tour to the race course with issues of taking cocaine. I've heard that happening. I've not been in one to actually ever say check that out. So no, we're not really keen to find out particularly either. Also, not just for people fancying a drink, water, have good running water. It's also for people who have issues of people drinking too much, really, and not having enough fluid. Now I go out drinking, a mate of mine here often has water. I don't, I just have alcohol, to be honest. Because that's the, but there's a way, because this is a situation that you probably would want to offer that, so say water for free. Not I know whose bottles necessarily, but just some. For a little bit of water, and Ascot's doing that. And I remember Newmarket meeting a few years back, there was some free water on offer at a bar. It's just not a race course to do this, and I think it's a good idea to do it. here for a few minutes. I said I'm being a bit knackered. I could normally ask her, I can't wait to a pre-parade ring, have a look at horses, get to the parade ring, then get to the race. I can't be, I'll just wait about 5-10 minutes and just watch horses in the parade ring. Yeah, but part near the winning post, it looks like it's all the Queen Anne enclosure. There's enough people who are without ties or even jackets, so it almost certainly is. What's confused me is the previous meeting in Ascot of that. I'm saying that it seemed to be no obvious split between the enclosures. Why I thought it was the King Edward VII enclosure is simply that there's a part just up from there saying an entrance through to the Queen Edward enclosure, which is where the split was, I felt, between the two enclosures and the winning line. That's actually disappeared today. I just realised after leaving the finishing line area to go to move out again. But hang on, where's that gone? It was there for last week. I think. I don't remember when it was I was at Ascot last week. It was definitely July. So maybe something left over from Ascot and no one ever bothered to sort of alter it. And so it isn't accurate. I'm slightly surprised me that is the only part. So it means there was 4 floors in that session. So we have been to Ascot, a bit of the escalator, the long escalator. Once went up a short one by mistake, and I needed to waste because I couldn't find where I was supposed to go, and realised there was 2 escalators, and I'd just gone up a shorter one. Yeah, but that's the only part apparently that's going to do a settlement closure for viewing races. It's a brilliant view from there actually. But just like the advantage of where I am is you miss a horse for like 2 furlongs down back straight because there's some trees and you can't see them because they're flying. And we just blow that off. So it's a friend I don't need. Yeah, so that's. Oh, get off here, bloody fly. There's now one on the screen, can you believe? So, but yeah, so that's what happened to the enclosures. In fact, it's clearly the only part is the 4th floor. And I think therefore in maybe in last meeting it was actually all Queen Anne enclosure, just someone had still left us sign it by mistake. I don't understand why it was there otherwise. I think it's a very good one, but then Kodiak, who came 6 my horse, protected guest, was at the back and ran on a bit, but never anyone near involved. One I've seen a little bit after Den Kodiak towards the end. We had about 560 days, something like that. It was a great performance, training performance. He was really looking, he might be placed, and then just ran out of steam. There's a quarter by horse just coming along, but it's a very good effort after a long time off. 178 days. I knew it was a while. I didn't say anything like that. Well, that's astonishing training performance, actually. I just checked who the trainer is. Got to check that, actually. That's an amazing effort. 178 days. I knew it was a while. I thought it was another way, of course, I think it's about 500 days is running today as well. Joe Tickle. And I have to say, I've never heard of him before. Joe Tickle, Tiverton. It's the first time. Sure, I mean, the other people who are even better, some people amazingly know racing even better than I do, quite a lot of them I would have thought, would know who that is, but I have to say I've never heard of him before. But what a great training performance. The other horse running pretty well. I think he must be running over jumps actually here. I think that might be it. Looking at this, that might move. Yeah, saying here actually when you're looking at week race card, but he didn't run very well in 2 hurdle starts for Neil King late 2020. So he's run since he's up on the hurdles more recently. But still, it's over a year as a good performance. And certainly, so yeah, it's 178 or flat perhaps. So it's still over a year he's not run. So it's a good effort from the trainer. I'm so confused now, but then the Kodiak, it's 516 or 18 or whatever it was. In racing post, I was looking for form, so I knew there was 500 and something. The race card says 1,078 because that's the Ascot number flat. That's why it's confusing. And that's just a presentation of local schools. Yeah, I do some artwork and apparently I'm saying here just about why Moore chose a winner and thanking Tory give him a prize. It's nice to see a racecourse getting involved in the local community. I wonder if something that doesn't happen quite enough, frankly.